Hi, I'm Kia with the Female Veterans Podcast. I want to welcome you to Hot Topics Live, the show, the podcast. And today I have an amazing guest, and I can't wait for everyone to meet her. We're going to talk about unlearning our programming, unlearning the misconceptions of who we think we are. And I have someone really cool to introduce a little bit later. But first, I want to say hi to Matilda. Matilda, hi, sweetie. It's good to see you. Have you
Hi,
back?
Kia. How are you? In Armenian, Jan means dear. So when I say Kia Jan means my dear Kia.
Oh, I love that.
How are you? How is everything?
I'm good. My kids are at school. I'm running around like a crazy person, putting my Halloween decorations out, getting ready. The seasons are changing. Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with, my little production company, Magnum Opus. And so there's like partnerships being made. I'm making negotiations this week, actually. So it's exciting. And my little show, Woman Warrior Stories, for anyone who has watched Hot Topics Live and has heard me talk about Women Warrior Stories for the Veterans Channel, the rough cut, the second draft of the rough cut of the premiere episode is done. And it looks good. We're just putting music, we're just putting, some titles in and stuff like that. And we're putting the finishing touches on. And you'll be able to see that in the upcoming weeks at theveteranschannel.com. So I'm super proud of it. And I'm really excited to have, my first like little show on
That's
a small
amazing,
network,
Kia.
but it's there.
Well, it starts from small network and then
Hmm. Yeah.
you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere. The
Yes.
important thing is that you start. That's the important thing. So, how are you, my darling? How is New York?
New York is amazing. I miss New York so much, so I'm enjoying it. So it's lovely.
Yes, it's awesome. So, well, if you don't know already, Matilda has a podcast called Coffee with Matilda. And she is also one of the co hosts of a show called Podcasters Unleashed, which you can find on YouTube. You can watch it live, just like this one, on Facebook. And it's an awesome show. And I really enjoy it. So, you should check it
Okay.
out, as well as Coffee with Matilda. Matilda, I don't think we've discussed on this show what Coffee with Matilda is really about for a really long time. So I know you've been a guest and we discussed it then. So you'd have to go back to our Hot Topics Live Facebook page and scroll through the episodes and find Matilda's first episodes on the show over a year ago. But for those who are new, what's Coffee with Matilda, anyways?
Well, it's my podcast is about loving yourself, finding yourself, and coming out of adversity stronger. So I interview people who've gone through some hardships and how they handle life. And I believe everything starts with you and ends with you. So it's very important to love yourself and respect yourself in all areas in your life. And I think if one area in your life is not working well, you have to see, are you respecting that part of you or not? So it's kind of interesting how everything comes back to you. So my podcast is about that.
Well, I like that podcast, and you can listen to that anywhere you listen to podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Google, pretty much any platform that you're listening to podcasts on. You can find it. So check it out. And don't forget to follow Matilda on Instagram at
Yes.
Coffee with Matilda. So, all right, well, let's bring out our guest because she's so interesting. And since we're going to be like on a tight time schedule today, I want to make sure we get to ask her everything we want. So I'm going to tell you about her. Now, as you know, because I'm also a success coach at London Real Academy, I get to meet amazing people like you, Matilda. And this is where I also met Kimberly. She studied broadcasting, and she came to London Real Academy to create her podcast version of her show. So she has a show on YouTube. It's called Wake Up with Casey, and she also has that in a podcast version, a lot like this show, like Hot Topics, the podcast, and Hot Topics Live, right? So let me tell you about her. She is an intuitive transmedium, a life transformational coach. She is a national speaker of the Public Speakers Association. She is a talk show host and a podcaster, and her goal is to educate, enlighten, and empower human beings to awaken to their true, authentic selves. And her goal, our big goal, is to help them understand the true meaning of life and how they are an important part of this life that we are living. And so I think that is really important because a lot of people talk about being woke, right? But what happens when you first wake up? A lot of people who go through an awakening, right? They it's lonely because you don't really know exactly what to
Hi.
expect. Hi Angeline, hi sweetie. And you're in New York also. So yeah, shout out to New York. You guys are making me homesick for the East Coast. Okay, Philly girl and the house represent, but I love New York City. It is amazing. So nice to have you with us, Angeline. I can't wait to have you back as a guest on the show and promote what you've got coming up. So Kimberly is amazing. She helps people through the initial steps of their awakening and helps them to navigate it because there's a lot involved. There's shadow work. There's like just understanding what's happening to you, why you're thinking the way you're thinking, why your thinking has changed, the way your feelings are changed. You know, why do people think you're weird or perhaps crazy? So there's a lot to it, but that's only one aspect of it. The show goes into a lot more than that, and it helps people on their journey of self love, healing, and constant evolution and growth. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring out Kimberly Chapman.
Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, ladies, you sex goddesses, you.
Hello, Kimberly.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to be here and to be in this moment with both of you. It's an amazing experience already. I could just feel the energy.
I love hearing that. It never gets old. But before we dive into before we dive into this, Kimberly, where are you and what time is it now?
Well, I'm in South Florida in the Palm Beaches, and it
Mm.
is actually 3:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Ooh, so we've got two East Coast in the house and me on the West Coast. And, you know, Hot Topics Live is a global show. So we don't always have all people from the United States. So this is kind of rare. What's the weather like for you, Kimberly, in October in Florida?
It's a little warm. And
Must be
we've been
nice.
experiencing, like, when it rains in Florida, it's like one moment you're outside, it's sunny, you go inside, come back out, and it's pouring down rain.
Mm. You know, when I used to live in Miami, we would say that the weather was bipolar because it was just all over the place
It's
all
the
the time.
description.
Yeah, yeah. How about you, Matilda? What's the weather like in New York these days?
Actually, it's very warm today. I'm like a
Mm,
little bit surprised. It's October and it's very lovely. It's a very lovely weather.
it's raining
So
here,
I think it's global warming here. It's a sign. I mean, it shouldn't
girl.
be a good weather at this time. I mean, it wasn't a bad weather, but not this warm. So maybe, uh,
Yeah. Mhm.
Angeline, you're enjoying New York weather today.
Yeah, she's loving it. She's loving the New York weather. For me, it's very, very rainy and chilly. Okay, so the rainy season has begun in the Pacific Northwest, which means it's going to be gray and rainy for most days until like February. January, February. Then it gets a little bit sunnier, but it still rains a lot. And I have had experiences here. I've been here 5 years. I have definitely had experiences here where it's rained for like 6 to 8 straight weeks, every single day, pouring
Wow.
rain. Yeah. So you have to do things to
Split.
come back. This is why the Pacific Northwest is a very depressed place where because you need vitamin D. so so we got to figure that out for me. I don't know. I'll let you guys know how I survive this winter. Anyway, so Kimberly, first of all, I have a lot of questions for you. So I want to dive into them.
Me
Okay,
too.
so enough with the small talk. All right, let's get into it. What is a transmedium? Okay, I know you want to know too, Matilda.
Well, a transmedium
Yeah.
is somebody that channels spirits, like highly evolved spiritual beings. Uh, it could be extraterrestrial beings, ancient civilization beings. So yeah, that's who I connect with
UFOs as
and
well.
channel.
Okay, so my friend Julian does this too, and it's really interesting to see. I would have never, ever, ever believed this if I didn't see it with my own eyes. And either that man, if you don't know Julian, he is a friend of the show. I have like 4 episodes with him. He's really knowledgeable about spirituality. And I've done 4 interviews with him on Hot Topics Live. I think they're on YouTube, probably mostly on the Hot Topics Live Facebook page. You could scroll through the episodes and check them out. But I witnessed him do this a couple of times. And if I had not have seen it with my own eyes and had the experience with him, I would never ever have believed that this could ever even be a thing whatsoever. But because I also love sci-fi, I am like, so let's just suppose
Hmm.
that you're an extraterrestrial being. Okay, I know this is going to sound a little bit out there, but follow me on this. All right. And you want to communicate with someone who lives on Earth. How would you do that? I don't think it would be completely unbelievable or ruled out for them to speak to you through telepathy. I don't know. But I'm just telling you what I saw. And what I saw was dead believable. And I mean, either he is the most incredible actor in the history of the world, or I don't know what to tell you. So that's amazing, Kimberly. How does that work?
Well,
Kimberly, we're like,
you know what? It's, you know, if you look at, there's been stories, written. There is, pieces of history that talks about this. It's just in a different language. It was interpreted in a different way.
Hmm.
And if you stay small minded with the limited beliefs and the programming, then how can you open yourself up to really experiencing something spiritual? We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And we've been so small minded in our limited beliefs and our programming that, oh, there's only human beings on this planet Earth. But there's
Mm.
evidence and documents that say another story of events. There is drawings on cliffs. There is writings on tablets about other beings. So then I started asking the right questions, and it led me to truth. When you really want to know the truth is inside you.
Mm.
It shows up. And I started asking the questions. And then I started experiencing things. There's some of us that can smell things, but they're not, you could smell like a rose or lavender, but they're nowhere in sight, but you smell it.
Oh, so these are like the clairs, right? So
Yeah,
that would be like clairsentient,
right.
claircognizant,
When there's
clairvoyant is
clairaudient,
one,
they hear.
clairaudient, and clairsentient.
Right.
So those are the clairs. And we all have them, but we are like psychic abilities. We all
Yes,
have them, but if
intuitive.
you
It's
don't,
part of our
mhm.
intuition that's connected us to our spirit. spiritual senses, being a spiritual being. But then when we come into this earth, when you're from 0 to 7, you're already still tapped into that spiritual, because you're seeing, you hear, and then when you get a little older, you say, hey, look, I see, or I heard. And then like, oh no, you're imagining things.
Mm-hmm.
But then it like doesn't leave, it goes into dormant.
Oh, okay. So if you're a sensitive little kid,
Oh
right?
yeah.
My son used to tell me he saw ghosts all the time, right? And I would never be like, "Oh, no, you didn't," and then I'd be like, "Where? Like, did you feel bad? Did it make you feel scared?" You know, because I never want to do that to him, but to invalidate him is my point. But
Validate what they
that's what you
see,
mean,
and it's
right?
very important when they're children. But me growing up, I grew up from the 80s in a Southern Baptist religion.
Mm,
So that was like, you don't talk about, that's of the devil. That doesn't exist. But then I questioned it, because I'm like, wait a minute. Well, Jesus, healed a blind man. Jesus did this. And what's the difference?
yeah, he performed miracles.
Kimberly,
And he raised the dead, for crying out loud. And he even stated, based on, this is third party that writing though, but supposedly he said you would do greater things than me. And I'm like, well, what are those greater things then? What is that about? What is that like? What would I do if you did that, and I could do greater things than you did, if you were here on earth actually doing that? I wasn't there, so I can't really say. This is
Mm,
third party writing that was written 200 years after his so-called death.
mm-hmm.
So I went through a mindset, a change of thinking, looking at things in a different perspective. Well, okay, I'm a spiritual being, a sexual being inside this human being. So what is it like to live like a spiritual being in this human being? What am I capable of doing? What is possible? And it started with changing the programming, the limited beliefs. And people came into my life. Dr. Joe Vitale
Mm,
started out,
yeah.
ask a question everything. And then I realized, well, these limited beliefs and these mental programmings have been passed down from generation. It just gets passed down, passed down. Oh, because I said so. Oh, this is the word. You got to go by the word. Well, who said that's the word? Well, what makes you think that is correct or right or accurate? Well, because that's what my parents told me, or this is what, this is the way it is. I'm like, well, why? Why is that? Why can't it be this
Mm,
way?
um, Kimberly, I know. I mean, I'm a little bit. I'm fascinated actually what you do. So I have a lot of questions, but I'm trying to focus on a couple of them. I know, like you. You used to. I mean, a regular person is, I think, 4 dimension. Yes, or
It
three.
goes from 3D to
Yeah,
5D. Now we're going shifting
to
to the fifth
fifth
dimension,
dimension.
which is part of a spiritual awakening in the senses and the energy.
And you sense. You sense. Do you sense like beings with 8 dimension or?
Yes, I'm getting hit. So yes.
Oh my God, that's so amazing.
And now I don't know what's happening, but I'm getting hit and I feel like I'm getting ready to speak something. And
don't let us stop you.
whoa. Okay. Whoo. I said have an open mind and an open heart. Here we go. Woo. E semenei ka tonton posho. Gedoro pota antake inti kishe. E shemeno u son posho kata. A Sante e me tu kutu ata. Ampoto te e se me I. Shentata inkoto posho. Som potata inkete e se me I. Te e somokotu usumoshota. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah. Welcome to my world.
Okay, what
That's
the
like
fuck was that? Like, what just happened? You need to just I'm having an open mind. Break it down for me. Okay? I need to know answers right now.
I'm like, I'm watching a movie right now. What's
This
happening?
is part of my life. This is what I experience. And it happens randomly. Let me tell you, ladies, I used to, at the beginning, I felt like I was speaking Native American, like the ancient Native American Indians. And then all of a sudden, I meet this man who's now my partner, and I experienced the most euphoric, orgasmic ecstasy. And at the same time, I channeled, like I just did just now, it was more intense. It's like something
During
took
the
over
sex?
me and started. It's like I left the building and they came in during my orgasm.
Wow. I had no idea this conversation was going to take this turn, and I'm for it. Okay?
And then when I came back to I'm looking, I was sitting on top of him during the, orgasm, and I just like, what the hell just happened? Oh my God, did I just channel? And he goes, yeah. I have no clue what you said, but you just like something took over you. And then he jokes around. He goes, man, when we get ready to have sex, they're waiting because they're bored on the other side. So they just want to come in.
That's
It
wild.
used to be a joke, but that's when it started really happening. Now it's sort of, I'm like, thank God. I'm like, can I just enjoy my sex without you guys coming in and taking over? I want to enjoy it.
Can I have some privacy, please?
I know.
And
We
then I
said
understand
that.
about the spirit realm. It's so different than what we're taught to believe. It's the most amazing. When you go from a human being back into your soul form, you know everything. You remember everything. All the lives that you lived, the soul never dies.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember a couple of my past lives. So I can attest to that.
So
Anyway.
then when you come back, you forget everything. And it's like, okay. And I even question, I'm like, well, why is that? Why do we forget? Why can't we remember? Like, take it, like all the knowledge, all the wisdom, even the hurt and pain, and come back so we know, let's not do that again. But it's the process of learning and expanding and getting more wisdom, more knowledge. Everything that we experience is just an experience. How will we know the difference between good and bad if we don't experience both?
Mm. Okay.
Kimberly, what were they saying?
Yes, that's
Oh,
my question too. What was that? Okay,
oh
can we
my
get a
God.
Is this
translation
something
up
that
in
we need
here?
to know now?
Well,
It might be pertinent.
I'm learning when I start getting hit and I feel they're coming on and taking over, there's like a delay because their frequency's higher than the frequency of us being human. So I'm like the conduit to them and like the translator, if that's what you want to call it. So it's taken me a few, like I would actually have to go back and listen and then go write it down because I have time to process. But when these kind of things happen, it's hard for me to interpret. Sometimes I get bits and pieces, not the whole what they're saying, because it's like a radio frequency coming in, if that makes any sense.
Interesting.
It's like trying to tune in and you're getting that static kind of thing. And then right when you nail that right on frequency, then it's clear. That's what's been going on. And I've been trying to take time to really sit with them and say, okay, how can we, connect to where you could channel through me, speak the language, and then I can relay it and translate it to where everyone can understand it.
This is like what happens to Esther from Abraham Hicks or
Yeah.
Bashar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
wish.
we don't know what the
What
translation
happened?
is.
But what I can, because I can still feel it's a feminine frequency energy, and whoa, woo, woo, um, not from here, from another dimension. Whoa, and message is for DNA activation. Whoa, awaken 5D. Whoa.
Okay, I get it.
Ah, you get it.
Hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, can you translate?
Yeah.
Now,
So
from now, look like I can look back. DNA activation is on the spiritual, because we were spiritual beings. So we've been disconnected from that, from the beliefs, the programmings, even the emotional, energetic traumas, to now with everything is shifting, all the energies, even the planets, the sun, even the earth, with everything shifting and changing and the chaos, it's now they've been communicating all along, trying to help mankind raise their consciousness, their frequencies, their awareness. So it's like I come in channel, they get the message out, and it goes into inside, like your soul, your spirit.
um, I have a. I mean, I'm just curious. Did they say anything about COVID? A disease will come for. Maybe they warned us before, but we didn't listen, or I don't know.
but Shar had something about that.
I
I
feel
saw.
like history repeating itself. And yes, things have changed, and there's I'm actually, trying to communicate and like, okay, what's going on? Why is this all happening? And part of it is, history. Didn't learn a lesson. Here it comes full circle, and I'm like, well, how can we change this for the better? And what do we do now? So I'm like, okay, is this out of my control? Well, yeah, but what can I do to adapt? You know, I am a god. You are all gods. Sexy, beautiful, handsome gods in this human form that you're all in. And we're all connected. So, do I want to have that victim mindset, or this mindset of fear? Or am I going to operate and express who I am, of a host of God that's all loving, all compassionate, and caring? Because love conquers all things.
Ain't that the truth?
So I operate, and that love vibration goes to 924 frequency. Look it up. And let me tell you something. That's like experiencing that euphoric orgasmic ecstasy. We are all love. Love is inside of the kingdom of heaven is inside us. It's tapping in and expanding it to change the perspectives and the concepts and all these programmings to where we all are united. And that vibration, that frequency, let me tell you something, it will change even our planet for the better. Ah, humankind. And what Jesus said, in those scriptures of healing and everything. Oh my God. You're walking. Now, this is a testimony because I remember uh this happening. This person, I feel, was it a male walked into a room, and his state of being, people were getting healed. They were like, just by walking the room and the presence and that being and that frequency of that, walk in a room and change the whole environment, change the energy. Why
Now
can't
you're
we
talking
all
my
do that?
language. Energy.
Yeah, why
That's
can't
my
we
favorite
Yeah,
all
me
topic.
too.
do that? Because then everything else is unnecessary.
Well, I always say that the two most valuable things that we have are energy, number one, and time. Time and energy. If you can master those two things, then you're actually a rich person because you can create anything. So I definitely believe that. And who was it? Was it Kate, Matilda, that we were talking to, who was talking
Yeah.
about the being superhuman,
Hmm.
and that the people that are on this earth, there's like a show called, I guess it's Being Superhuman or something, and these people have abilities, right? And one of the people on the show she was telling us about on, I think the last 2 weeks ago on Hot
2 weeks.
Topics Live, she was saying that the guy would just tell his body to activate healing, activate. You know what I mean? And I mentioned it reminded me of the Wonder Twins from Super Friends when I was a kid, right? But that's the kind of thing. It's like, if we have these abilities that lie dormant in us, and if we can, the mind is so powerful that if we can focus it enough to connect with our ability to tap into that, then we can do these things like walk into a room and heal people with your energy. So
Hmm.
that's something I definitely believe.
And what I do with my clients is, okay, let's get to the root of the blocks, the programming, the limited beliefs, and even some emotional energetic traumas. Now, emotional energetic traumas can be passed down. Now, think about it. We're women, we bring life into this earth. So, whatever we're experiencing, abuse, stress, that feeling is also an emotion, energy in motion. The baby is experiencing it too, but has no
Mm-hmm.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
So that emotional any kind of trauma, even trauma during birth, that's energy that's getting passed down. So then you came through your mother. What was she experiencing? Then she came through her mother. And how far back does this
Wow, that's
trauma
profound.
goes?
That's profound because you think about it. I had pregnancy depression with my first son, right? And I noticed, I mean, granted, he is a teenager, but he is a bit depressed. Like he gets prone to these bouts of like sadness, right?
Mhm.
And if you think about it, that could be that. Being that I was suffering with depression, I couldn't take anything for it, and he was growing in me, in addition to an emergency C-section at the end of that. So, what was my mom going through when she was pregnant with me?
Not
Or
only
are you
that,
thinking a woman who's going through abuse when she's pregnant?
and not only that, even the sperm
Mhm.
at the time, what was, the man going through? I
Interesting.
studied emotional body coding with Dr. Brad Nelson, and I was on a call with him, and he was on the phone with a woman, and she had shingles. She did everything she could. And it went back 3 generations to her great grandfather. Wait, see, father, grandfather, great grandfather, who was in the Civil War.
Wow.
And once they went in and took care of it and realized where it was coming from, it disappeared. I'm all about emotional energetic traumas.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. I'm going to come back with my problem. I have a pigeon phobia. Where do you think it came from?
Well, I'd have to sit and have a session with you, and we'll go through other things too that will help you.
And it might be from someone and my ancestors.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Now,
I'll be like, damn it, you gave it to me. Keep it yourself, man. Now I'm suffering here.
In our society, it's everything's hereditary. Oh, it's in the genes. It doesn't have to be. All it is emotional energetic traumas that keep passing down.
So if my mom had diabetes, right, and high blood pressure, and her father had diabetes and high blood pressure, but I don't.
Okay.
Could that be because of doing healing work?
Yes.
Really?
Because I do a lot of healing work, self-healing. Like I've been on this journey for a minute. Okay. And it keeps evolving. It's a long journey, but at every phase, it's so worth it. So I definitely recommend people to do it.
But that's what we're constantly here to do, is remember who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We're taught that, I mean, come on, let's get real. Adam and Eve were the first human beings on this earth. No, I don't think so.
I really doubt that. Okay. More than I doubt a lot of things. I doubt a lot of things. Believe me, I'm very skeptical.
You know where I came
of
up with that? Because when you read further down, there was Cain and Abel, and then Cain killed Abel, and then Cain left, but he brought back a wife. So I'm thinking, wait a minute. If Adam and Eve were the first male and female, they had Cain and Abel, where did that woman come from that Cain brought back?
And whatever happened to Lilith, by the way? The one that came before
that's
Eve.
That's a whole nother topic.
Okay. Yeah. So while we're on it, but I mean, I think that we can go, if we take a science, because I know we're talking about spirituality, but you know how much I love science. And if we look at it from a scientific standpoint, right, and we go back in time, I'm sure that what we have found already so far indicates that we go back further historically as in some type of human form or otherwise, like sort of Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon and different sort of species of this evolution of man. And I'm sure that there were even more than that going forward. So I find that hard to believe, the Adam and Eve story. I find it so hard to believe.
Well, did you know that they found a skull in the desert that's 7 million years old?
So there you go. Actually, I do think I remember seeing something like that in an article. Was that not that long ago?
It was in a documentary. And so my question, okay, what if there's more? What if there's others that are still lying beneath the earth that have been around longer than that?
Of course there is.
And there's writings on pyramids, on cliffs that show it's, and then there's other drawings that the only way you could see is in the sky.
Can we just talk about ancient aliens real quick?
Oh my God, yes. What do you want to know?
Because that was like my favorite show. I feel like I kept them on the air for many years when I used to watch TV a lot. But seriously, there's a lot, because it triggered me to think of that when you were talking about writings on walls and in caves and stuff. And because they use a lot of that stuff in that in that show where they're showing like ancient carvings and things like that. So do you think I'm coming out here? I am an ancient aliens theorist, conspiracy theorist. Okay. I think they're ancient aliens. So do you think so too, Kim? Is my point.
Yes. Absolutely. Because it's in our DNA.
Mm.
They say there is this lab. I mean, it's very funny that I'm saying it. They say it's like 35 layers of more than presidency, like privacy level. I don't know why I know that then, but they say there's this lab called Me Lab or My Lab that they're trying
Mm.
to see the DNA of human beings with aliens, and they're trying to combine it and see some things they're trying to figure out now.
That's wild. That's like right out of the movie Venom. And I know this because my little son loves the movie Venom. And so I watch it all the time with him when it's a rainy day out. And that's exactly what they were doing in that
Yeah,
movie.
and it's interesting because I watched this show on Gaia or Gia,
Gaia?
Gaia,
Mm.
Cosmic something. I forgot the name because I wasn't expecting to talk about this. Otherwise, I would have gone and looked the show name. And there's this guy that got abducted and in a very young age, and he was explaining lots of things. He was saying. Um, like in early 19s, they found that the heaven and hell was somewhere close to Baghdad, between Iran and Baghdad, and the imagination of heaven was that there's animals and there's kingdom, yada yada. There were aliens, and human beings were the animals. So they wanted to create. They were the one that created us. This is. So I watched this show
But
a couple of
the
times, but
Julian talked
aliens
about that
created
too.
us.
sorry.
Well,
The aliens created us.
Yeah, like they came because something happened to their star, to their
Ah,
planet, and then
is
they
that
okay.
came
like
to us.
Battlestar Galactica? No, no, no.
No,
That's
no, no.
like Battlefield Earth. Battle had John
It's funny
Travolta.
how
Another
movies
movie.
and producers create these movies about the sci-fi
This is
and
kind of like
aliens.
Scientology a little bit.
It, well, here's what I've gathered. You have to discern the truth in between and read
Mm.
between the lines with these
Discernment.
movies because there are a lot of prophetic. Come on, Star Trek with Captain Kirk. You know, there was a black person there, there was an Asian person there was someone from Scotland or somewhere else, and then they were meeting up with these aliens, and they were all diverse. They were all communicating with each other.
Yeah.
That was back in when? The 1970s? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, the original Star Trek. That's the one I like the
So,
best.
okay, if you could look at
So
that
cute.
aspect, but then there's a fear base. So why make Predator aliens? You know, those look disgusting. Come on. I don't think
Well,
they
I
look.
mean, don't you think though, it's a huge galaxy and there that we the known galaxy and then there's the unknown galaxy, right? Because I love space exploration. Okay. My
Mhm.
favorite show is the Orville. All right. So there's so many galaxies out there, right? There's got to be, and there's obviously there's life on it. We just know that. Okay. I think that's common knowledge now, right? And so I mean that's why they created Space Force, right? Come on, it's common knowledge. So anyway, there have to be like nice and not so nice. Don't
Just
you
like
think?
human beings. Hello.
Exactly. So that's why they create Predator and Alien, all because there's some not so nice ones out there, is my
Yeah,
point.
there are some that want to destroy mankind. There's some that out there want to conquer this earth. But there's a lot that want to help mankind and preserve earth. And that's why they
And why?
communicate with
Why they want
us.
to preserve
That sounds
Earth?
like a movie. So I
No,
love it.
because think about this. Earth
One I'd
is
watch.
so far, and I'm trying to get it to remembrance because I got a glimpse of something of why Earth is actually the most valuable resource.
Hmm,
Yeah, with everything that
interesting.
it has. But look what industries and corporations and then I'm like, wait a minute, hold up a second. Let's go back in time in history. Oh my gosh, all these wars, conquering and taking over lands for gold, for silver, for oil. Greed, power, manipulation, the ego kicked in. And we've been keep repeating history over and over. And the alien's like, hey, don't do this. When are you guys going to wake up? We're observing you. They'll only step in when you cross like there's a line. You know. Do you know that there is documentation in history and writings in Q&A form that the aliens who created us, Anunnaki, by the way, Matilda.
Yeah, Julian talked about that on one of the, I'm going to send you the old episodes, Matilda, so you can see Julian. He talked about that actually.
And so it's real, because I was like, this show was
about it.
Yeah, this show was Cosmic Disclosure. That's the show I watched.
And here's the interesting thing about that Bible that I come to find out. There's plagiarism in there. If you can translate the cuneiform writings about that, Inky, Enlil, Ninhursag, because there was 300 to 1,000 of these what they called gods. Now put yourself back in those times. If you saw something, a flying saucer coming out of the sky, like we know now, it's a UFO. But back in those times, they had no clue. They thought it was gods coming from the heavens.
Yeah. Ancient aliens all the way. I'm well educated in this.
So, with that being said,
I'm sorry.
But there's documents. There's like these like little bowl carved clays that had writings of them doing open heart surgery, brain surgery. How did they get that information? How do they have that knowledge? They didn't have the equipment that we have.
Also, the pyramids.
The pyramids. Now, the pyramids, there's Thoth, who is the son of Enki. And he would go in. The chambers was they had to be very creative and very highly intelligent that's where they reincarnated themselves. They knew when certain stars lined up and whatnot, when to go into other dimensions, be in their soul form, and then know when to reincarnate and be somebody else. It's fascinating.
That is fascinating.
And I could tell you can, Billy Carson, he knows his shit when it comes to ancient civilizations and UFOs and Inky and Thoth. And he's got a book. I actually started reading it, and there's a lot of similarities that I found in the Bible. I was like, oh my God. And it's the Emerald Tablets.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
Oh my God,
it's an eye opener. It's enlightenment. Like, oh my gosh. Now it's all starting to make sense. Connect the dots. We are divine beings. We are all gods. Hello. It's in our DNA.
I'm with that. I'm about that goddess lifestyle.
And girl, you are sexy goddess. Let me tell you.
Honey, I will take all of that. It took me a long time to learn how to take a compliment, and I will receive that with gratitude. Thank you.
And the thing about what I realized, and this is what I'm telling to all the women, based on my research and study and what I've been doing, we've been, even back in the times with Inky and the goddesses, with the up to 1,000 of the women, they were in charge of administrative duties. They were in charge of agriculture. They were in charge of a lot of things. Then something shifted, and then the women's voice. Ninhursag reigned, had administrative duties, responsibilities, and then Hammurabi came in, and then it like pushed her out of the way. And then these codes, there's like 300, but 282, I believe, that they were able to translate. And it's funny how there's with the commandments and how the justice and property taxes, property laws. There's similarities, even back in those times. So women were shut down, suppressed, but they were natural healers back in those times. They did
Called
amazing
witches.
things. I know.
When we are, you know what, one of my favorite, anyone who knows me knows I'm obsessed with tarot. Okay. And if you really know me, you know that. And one of my favorite readers on YouTube, her name is she goes by Saltwater Heals Tarot. Her name's Missy. She's really cute, adorable girl. And she always says something that I love. She says that women are the holy grail, the birth canal. If you look at the shape of it, it looks like a holy grail, right? And so because we create life, okay? And so I think that makes us very powerful beings. But I love I love men. Everybody knows that too. That knows me, and this show has a very huge male audience, which I love. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. But let's just be honest here. Okay. Divine feminine energy has been suppressed for centuries, and it's what's necessary for us to continue to thrive and to have better life experiences. So I think part of this DNA code activation that's happening right now and leveling up within ourselves, especially as women, is to be able to stand in your true power and your authenticity, and be that woman, be feminine and be that woman. I'm not saying I'm not a feminist. I'm not saying be submissive. I mean, let's use common sense here. But I'm saying to rest in your divine feminine energy. It's different. It's different. And that is what the world needs, is my point.
And there's balance with the yin and the yang. Now, hi, Brian. There is masculine energy that is now tapping into the feminine energy in the males.
Well, we have
I'm
both.
like, you go. I know
we have both. They have to be balanced,
love
right?
being a woman, and they like to dress up as a woman. And let me tell you something, they could do better makeup, I think. When they tap into that energy, oh my God, I look at them like, how did you do that?
My new makeup artist, actually.
Beautiful. Everybody's God's. And here's the one thing that I can emphasize. That source that's in all of us, if you look at it in a scientific, spiritual, it's energy. It's neither masculine or feminine. It's neither, gender. It's neither race, neither color. It's just energy. And every piece of that energy comes to you. Every piece of that energy goes into you too. It's a spark. And then it goes into me. And then we have a way of connecting at such a higher vibration. When we can all do that, we'll experience true love, pure, unlimited love. And when we walk and talk out of love, in love, it spreads. Why not spread the love instead of spreading the cancer?
I feel that. I mean, I always say there's a meme that I love, and I always quote it. I quote it a lot, actually. And I think the meme goes, "I love you." And it says something like, you're probably thinking, how can I say I love you if I don't know you? And it says that if people can hate for no reason, I can love for no reason. And I am like, oh my God, I love that, because I just love everybody.
So do I.
I will love you until you give me a reason not to, anyway.
Well, I'll love you. And here's where,
maybe in spite of yourself.
As a coach, it's because I've overcame abuse. I've been abused in so many ways and forms. But then I realized it was just an experience for me to know better, gain wisdom, knowledge, and know what I do not want.
Oh,
That's
you
it.
got to know what you don't want to know what you do want, honey. That's with
Hello?
everything in life.
So that's why I'm like, I love you. And then when you understand, we've all been abused, just some stay in that victim mentality. they in that mindset, in that programming, and they live it every day. And I feel sorry. I'm like, hey, wake up. You don't have to feel that way anymore. Why are you, you're wasting time. You're wasting energy. You're missing out on opportunities of living life. You're in this
Best life.
lifetime right now, in this human being, and you and God are experiencing it together. If you don't like your experience, we have the power. You have the power to change it.
So
Mm-hmm.
tell us how, as women especially, I think, I mean, men, they handle themselves very well, but women, we're very caring. We sometimes forget ourselves because we want to give it to our children, to our friends, to the husband, to, I don't know, to the partner. How can we be more intuitive? A. So maybe we can save some wrong paths in our lives, and how we can save our energy and to be more higher energy for us and for others.
Okay, well, first, you got to take time for yourself. Even if it's 10 to 15 minutes, start with 10, 15 minutes and sit with yourself and go start thinking of something that makes you feel good, happy, a memory. Connect with that. Start with that. And then, like, okay, I feel this. I want to feel my higher self. Is it feeling like this, or is there something more that I can connect to? Then start talking to yourself, even if it's out loud. Let me tell you something. I go outside in the morning. This is my meditation. I get up first thing before I wake up and get out of the bed. I'm like, thank you. This bed felt good. And then I get up. I go get my coffee, go get my cigarettes. I go outside. I'm like, wow, look at the trees. Oh my God, the birds are singing. Oh, look, the lizard's getting his breakfast already. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like living every day on a good vibration. First thing in the morning. What are you grateful for? Waking the fuck up.
I
Hello. And
feel
then you
that.
go outside and you could see nature. You could see the beauty. I recommend Celestine Prophecy. It's a book. You can get it audio, or you can even watch the movie for free on, I think, Amazon Prime. It's on there. It talks about synchronicities. It talks about energy. I can now, from my meditations in the morning, I'll sit for a few minutes. I'm like, show me your energy. When you connect to Mother Nature, this planet that we live on, you connect to that greater source. That is a way to tap into yourself.
Wow,
And then
that's
you can start
amazing.
seeing the energy. It's because of all the lighting and all the electricity. It's very dim. But let me tell you something. You go out to the mountains and the nature and everything. Woo! It's more vibrant.
Oh, wow. I
It
can do
is.
that.
And that's what you do. Just start sitting with yourself. Start talking to yourself. And then if you're dealing with a situation or a circumstances or something going on, ask yourself, what is the best scenario to this issue or this problem?
Yeah.
What is the best outcome that,
We all have the answer within.
thank you. We
I
have
actually,
the answer. We have the truth. It's tapping in to connect to it. So it's revealed to us.
it's actually very funny what you're saying. You talk to yourself. I do that to my picture of Matilda, I think 8 months old or 1 year old, and I have it in my altar. Like that's my God, not yeah, God or my guru. She's my guru. So whatever problem I have, I meditate to her, and I feel like she guides me. I don't know, I'm crazy or not, but how I feel
Wow.
like that's
Why would that be
my
crazy?
higher,
Wow.
my higher self is that age. I don't know.
Oh, that's
You know
so
what? It's your
cute. I
inner
love it. Your
child.
inner, yeah, your inner child.
And I
So
definitely want to talk to you
sweet.
about that. And just, Kia, you could give her my information and, she can message
Of
me, call
course.
me, text me.
Absolutely.
So
You know, I'll hook that up.
I love these kind of conversations. Oh my gosh. It's like
It's
anything I
amazing.
could do to help the team. Come on, we got to unite.
Yeah,
So
ask your questions.
okay, so I always have a million questions, and we are already at 1 hour, and I'm gonna have to wrap this show up here shortly, but I think I have time for one or two more questions.
Okay.
And today's topic was unlearning the misconceptions of who we think we are. So I would like, so we talked a lot about that, right? Like if you don't understand how that fits together, how would that fit together with everything that you've been saying? Is it the misconception of who we are is that we're just these beings, these humans walking around? And the truth is that we are a soul having a life experience, like sort of in this meat suit, and we're just walking around and like, my friend Lynn Billett, and she's been on Hot Topics a couple times. She talks about anti-aging and lots of cool stuff. And you can find her episodes on our Facebook page if you scroll back and look through them. But Lynn always says that she's wearing a Chinese outfit, which I love, which is really funny. So we're wearing these outfits, right? But we're really a soul that's capable of so much more than many of us are aware that we are. And is that what you would call being asleep? Not being aware that we are capable of what we are capable of, and that we're a spirit having a life experience, but we're ageless in here.
Well, and we're eternal beings. We are, a soul never, there's no age, there's no limits when on the soul, there's no death, it's soul. It's this cute, like an orb. If you want to describe it as an orb of something, we are orbs, okay? But
Our energy.
inside,
Yeah.
and unlearning, you have to really ask yourself, okay, what are my beliefs, and are they hindering me from being my true authentic self? You know, is there blocks from my beliefs, and where did those beliefs come from? Your upbringing, your religion, society. If it doesn't,
Family.
yes,
Programming.
yes.
That's
Hmm.
true.
Hi,
So
Haroon.
that's where
Thanks
the
for
journey
watching.
begins. So that's where it began to me, because of my second marriage. I was in abuse, and I actually one day I was like, is this it to life? Is this all there is? Because if that's it, take me out. However, if the grass is greener on the other side from where I'm standing, and there's more to life than this, show me. I got so adamant. It was like something rising up in me, and I was serious. I was authentic, and I wanted to know the truth, because I was done with the religion bullshit. I was done being told you got to do this, you should do this, and you're the woman of the house. You got to, be submissive to the husband. I'm like, that doesn't sit well with me. It didn't resonate with me. So I knew there was something, I just didn't know what it was. And I had to go on the journey. That's when I started asking the question. That was my question. And then guess what? The right people showed up with the right messages, because it perked my ears. I felt it, like, wait, there's something to this. I feel it. And I became an investigator, a researcher, and an observer of my life. And I became somebody. And now I'm very blessed. I have no regrets from everything that I experienced, because it wouldn't got me here today with you, having this experience with you ladies.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. We are definitely blessed to be
Yes,
here.
and we're learning a lot.
Thank you so much, actually, for coming and being a guest on Hot Topics Live and sharing your channeling, sharing your beliefs with us, sharing how you help people and their journey of when they first start to recognize that they are they are energy with a consciousness, and they're in this meat And it's much more powerful than we have been taught to believe, because for control reasons.
Yes.
Um, so without going diving deep into that, but one more question for you before we wrap. Hi, Neem. And hi, I just want to say thank you for everyone who watched today. I appreciate you. If you made it this far in the episode, go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your soul family now, okay? If you've watched this entire episode, your soul family. So just set your notifications if you're on Facebook so you know when we come live. And also go to the YouTube channel. You can search Hot Topics Live in Kia, Kia, that's my name. And you will see the channel come up, or one of the episodes, and then just click in and subscribe and set that notification bell so you know when we come live. Especially if you're Haroon or Shah. You should be, if you haven't done that already, I will be really shocked. Okay. I will be very shocked. And hi, Neem. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining. Thank you for watching. Hope I said your name right. And with that, I just want to shout out everyone for watching. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
What is the process that you take people through when they come to you as this newly little awakened soul, and they just, people think they're crazy in their family now because they think differently than everyone else, and they're confused, and they're like little toddlers with their new legs. How do you how do you help them?
Well, I go through a questionnaire process of, okay, what are you experiencing? How are, okay, I'm dealing with a client right now that has experienced, paranormal kind of things. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, all right, here's, and I guide her through it and I ask her questions. And I'm like, oh, so you can see things. That's a gift.
Mm, interesting.
Oh, wait, you heard something? Really? And no one else was around? Well, yeah, I thought I was losing my mind. No, you're not. That's a gift. So then I try to intuitively, because I get insights from, we all have guardian angels and spirit guides. So I tap into the spirit guides when I'm dealing with that, with somebody that's dealing with, okay, are they having awakening? Are they experiencing spiritual things? That's their gift to help them along their path, their journey in life. And then I'm like, okay, so then what are the blocks? What are the limited beliefs? What are the programs in the emotional energy? It's a process. And it does take time. It's like an onion. You're peeling the layers of all the programming, the traumas, and then bit and pieces, that's those spiritual gifts, the intuition, all the clarions come back to life little bit at a time.
Wow.
Amazing. What do you think,
How did
Matilda?
you? I mean, it's amazing, and I'm like a little bit scary. I'm sure whoever is starting this journey can be very scary. I think when you meet someone, do you see them if they have an old soul or not?
I sense, I feel. That's one of my gifts.
How do you sense it?
It's
But can no other people, regular people, sense it as well, or no? It's
there's other people that can sense it too. I just sense a feeling, and then like when I first get the feeling, I pause and I ask the question, oh, is this another old soul? Am I connecting to a soulmate, or somebody? Like, soulmate is somebody you met in a past lifetime. It doesn't mean that you're lovers. It just means you know each other from a
Could
past
be
life.
your
That's it.
mom, could be your dad, a
Yeah,
friend,
yeah.
anybody.
We're all connected.
and also this is amazing. You said soulmate. Do you believe there is a soulmate for relationships? Like people look for their soulmates in relationships? Do they find?
Well,
Is there something like that?
that is
Love,
a very good
juicy stuff.
question. That's a very good question. And I question this. I'm like, well, some people feel like, oh, or believe that, oh, soulmate for a lifetime. No, you've been in this lifetime many times. So you have a soulmate for a season to help you learn and grow. And then boom, a lot of these marriages in this lifetime, they stay together, but they hinder themselves, and then they're miserable. And there's so many divorces because there's a misconception about marriage and partnerships and whatnot. And I can't wait to get on a topic on that one on another day.
Well, that I guess that means we'll have to have you back because I'm anxious to hear what
Yes.
you have to say about that. So we'll have to
And
get
I
that
just
on the
got
books.
married, so I'm like
Hmm.
all interested about this
You're all
life.
ears.
I'm like, what's happening here? No, because I feel like I met my partner in a very interesting way. Like universe was showing me some signs, and I met him in a very abnormal way, and it was
Mhm.
interesting. And how I connected with him was interesting. And I'm thinking, maybe is he my soulmate? He's not my soul. I'm like in the process of figuring out, or
Well,
I
this
don't
is
know.
what I could tell you, Matilda. Take this as an opportunity. What can you learn more about yourself with your husband and vice versa? And just go with that. Go with the flow, explore, be open.
Yeah, because I feel like everything in my life happened for that moment, for me to meet him, and everything went very smooth, and it's very strange.
It's different. It doesn't seem
Yeah,
normal, does it?
yeah,
But what if that is? We were
yeah,
taught to believe something different.
exactly.
So enjoy
I
it,
think I
baby.
think your heart will know. I mean, I
Yeah,
think we want to put labels on things, you know, but I think that I mean, for example, when I was in LA, right, a couple weeks ago, I met this girl and I went to this concert, right, to go and see this pianist that I like. And there was lots of people there and I went alone and I just was like I'm going to go have a great experience, right? So I went in the first night I met all these great people. Met an amazing couple. In fact, the husband of the girl that I met will be a guest on Hot Topics Live coming soon. He's an acting coach and he's an athlete and stuff. So it's cool. He's been a character on Call of Duty, the video games, which will be awesome. But the next day, right, I went alone again, and I walked into the room where the show was gonna take place, and I
Mhm.
looked around the room, and I was trying to figure out where to sit. And there was this girl, like I really kind of saw her out of my peripheral vision, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I was just trying to decide where to sit. And I started walking forward towards a one group of seats. And then I just sort of was like, no, I prefer to sit there. And so I walked over to her, and there were two seats open next to her. And I said, hey, is anyone sitting here next to you? And she said, no, you can sit there. Now, there were two seats, and normally I would have given her space and put a seat in between us. But for some reason, I sat right down next to her and I said, hi, I'm Kia. Now, as we started talking, okay, when I tell you the connection was instantaneous, I can't even express what type of magic that was. Okay. Our birthdays were one day apart. Okay. We both have two kids. We have teenagers. Like, we're divorced. Like, we aligned. We spent the rest of the evening together as if we came together. You would not have known. I met all of our friends. We hung out. We had such a great time. What the moral of the story is, that connection. We both know, we have discussed this already, that we are somehow soul family. We have known each other in a past life and we were great friends. We could feel it.
Mhm.
I don't know how I know that. I know it. I mentioned it to her. She said, I absolutely think the same thing.
And it's synchronicities.
yeah,
Your souls were ready
Mhm.
to reconnect. And it was like the universe and the spirit guides and the guardian angels
They
were
all
lining
conspired
everything and
to
guiding
bring us
you
together.
energetically to have that
yeah,
experience. It's called
exactly.
Yes,
synchronicity.
exactly. Just like what happened with you and darling Sasha, Matilda. I
Yeah,
mean, who meets and gets stuck together in a pandemic and then gets
yeah,
married? You know how many couples broke apart during a
yeah.
pandemic?
Because I met him in a conference. I was from New York. He was from France, and we met each other in Armenia. And like 8 hours before my flight. And when I came back, I was telling my friends I met my husband. They're like, Come on, Matilda. Like, you watch
I'm
a
with
lot
it.
of Hollywood movies. And I was
No,
like,
I
I
believe you.
know, but this is not Hollywood movie. I feel it. He's my husband, and it happened.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
know what? There's more
And I
like
moved to
you,
Paris.
Matilda, that have
Stop.
experienced the same thing.
You're not alone, honey. It happens a
Celestine
lot.
Prophecy. Celestine Prophecy. I encourage everyone to go read the book, listen to it, watch the movie.
Do you
You'll
know
get more understanding about how our energy and meeting people actually happen. And there are some people that just they take their energy and want to dominate and control and
Mm,
suck your energy. They
you got to
they
protect your energy.
sort of label them as energy vampires.
Mhm.
And trust
Mhm.
me, from who I am and being so loving and so positive energy, it's I would be around people that just want to suck that negative, my positive energy out. Aw.
Speaking of Hollywood movies, that story of you and Sasha. Actually, have you seen The Sun Is Also a Star? Oh, if you haven't seen that, you should
No.
watch it, Matilda. It's kind of like that. These kids, they meet in this one day, and it's so cute. It's the same kind of concept. And you said something earlier, Kimberly, about enjoying it. And I want
Mhm.
to second that, because it is, if you feel like that's the case, and it's probably the case, Matilda. But the most important thing is to just enjoy every present moment of it, and just relish it.
And just
And
ask,
it's
what am I
interesting.
learning today with my husband? What am I learning more about myself? What can
Yeah.
I do to help my husband learn about himself? And
It's
keep
very interesting.
communication open.
It's very interesting what you're saying, Kimberly, because a lot of times, okay, this feeling comes. I'm like, oh, maybe we are. And then because I'm programmed by society, by people, even people around, they keep asking, but you don't know him that well to get married. You never, they bring all other aspects of, and you're like, maybe I'm childish to maybe make a decision like that.
Mhm.
Or, and then, but I'm like, my heart knows. There was
What?
no
That's right.
question.
Your heart has
Always
its
follow
own
your heart.
brain.
You know what, Matilda, you're going to go through a transition of um, those people. You're going to sort of let them go out of your life, because all they're going to do is bring you down, and you're about to transition and transform and go above and higher, and he is a key player in that. Ooh, I got hit on.
Hey, Sasha, we're bringing you up here.
I see why you married her. She's fucking adorable.
He is your warrior, your supporter, energetically, spiritually, mentally, physically.
Yes,
Hi,
That's
I
why
Ron.
feel
he's coming
he
into
is.
your life.
Mm,
I feel he is.
mm. And I have some advice too before we wrap the show, because we've got to wrap. I'm over time. So, okay. So my advice is this, and I have tons of advice, Matilda. So anytime you want it, I'm full of it. All right. Okay. So I say, who cares what anyone else thinks?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you happy? Is he happy? Can you guys
Exactly.
grow together? As long as you can grow together, and when you have to work through obstacles and problems, you find ways to communicate, to grow closer, for that to have been a lesson instead of something that tears you apart, then take it from me. I've been married a few times. Okay. So I learn from my mistakes. All right.
They
Let
weren't
it grow
mistakes, they were
you. There
experiences
were
in order for you.
lessons.
Yes,
They
thank you.
were lessons. So basically learn together and grow together, even from the obstacles. And don't let anyone tell you anything, right? If this is your choice, this is what you decided, you followed your heart, that can never be wrong. There can only be lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy it.
Very
Have
nice.
fun with it. I love being married. I
Yes.
can't wait to get married again.
And if anybody, and here, you know what, to go along with that advice, Kia, if anybody's saying something negative, you need to disassociate. But if they're speaking positive into your life, into your marriage, into your partner, then those are the kind of people you want to hang out with,
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
constantly going to uplift you. The other people, they have their own issues that they're not ready to deal with.
You just
Time
put
to
some
let them
distance.
go. Love them enough to let them go and say, okay, when you're ready, you can come back to me. That's what I
Yes.
found. Like, hey, when you're ready to know that, willing to hear and listen to the truth, you might not like it, but
I
then
mean, I'm not saying you have to cut everybody out of your life, but I'm just
no,
saying
but
you
you'll
might have
you'll
to
know.
put some
You'll start
space
recognizing it. Of
there.
those to let
Exactly.
go, and those to keep.
Well, you know
I
what
think
Dan Pena says too. Your friends are who you become like. So if you're around a lot of people that are speaking ill of your decision to follow your heart, well, that you got to question. I mean, they're all usually coming from a well-meaning place, is my point. So you may not want to be like, I'm never going to talk to you again, but you might just be like, I'm gonna leave what doesn't resonate from what I'm gonna take what resonates with me out of what they're saying, and the rest of it and sometimes people will fall out of your life, and
Yeah,
sometimes they'll be in your life, but you won't see them as much or spend as much time with them, and you'll find that creates space for new energy to come in with people like Kim was saying that are uplifting and speaking more into your life. Oh my god. I love him so much.
oh,
it's
I
that's
didn't know
not
we were
good,
gonna
good.
cry on this show.
I think this experience made me realize I have to trust universe, and universe guides me for whatever experience that I have to have in my life. So I think, yeah, then brain stops you with lots of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
The
on a
heart is
final note,
smarter.
it's what, whoever you want to become in the process of transforming and becoming the best version of you. It's when you start meditating and you get to know yourself and whatnot, and you can vision who that person is, what it looks like, and what it's doing. And when you can feel what it's like to be that future self of you that you just visioned and put in your mind's eye, then trust in the universe. You believe. And then you go back and rehearse and practice what it's going to be like. Dress up in that person that you want to be with.
It's your
Rehearsing
alter
what you
ego.
wanted, what it is that you want to do, and you're getting that energy. You are the master creator, the master of your destiny, and the captain to your soul.
Ooh, I
Amen to
love
that.
that. That is a good note to wrap this show on, actually. So I want to say thank you
Kimberly,
so
we don't want
much.
to say goodbye, and
We don't want to,
Hey,
but
it's
we
not
have to.
goodbye. Until next time.
It's until next time, of course. So, Kim, thank you so much for being our guest today and participating in such a lively and fun and interesting and unusual conversation. This has been great. I know the people who watched live really enjoyed it, and I'm sure the people who catch the replay will really enjoy this too.
oh yeah,
And thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to have you back. I'm gonna put you in the green room, and if you don't have time to stick around for a proper goodbye, I totally understand. We will wrap the show, and we'll join you for a quick proper goodbye if you can
Okay.
wait. Is there anything you want to say before I put you in the green room?
I've waited for this moment since I graduated from London Rio. And it was orgasmic.
Yay! That's what I love to hear. Spending time with me is orgasmic. Okay.
Yep.
You want to compliment me? Tell me that. Okay. That's the energy I'm projecting into the world.
There you go.
So wait till I walk into the next room you're in. Anyway, thank you for that, Kim. I really appreciate it.
I love you,
am.
ladies. Thank you.
It's been a
thank you,
pleasure, honey.
Kimberly.
All right, honey, I'll put you in the green room. Whew, my
Yeah,
goodness. What'd you think of that,
yeah,
Matilda?
I wasn't expecting this. I have to go watch it again. I mean, some of it I was like, what? What's going on? But I'm very happy. She's a very interesting woman.
She really is. I collect all types of people. I love people. I love people. It's just I love. That's what it boils down to. And I've always loved Kimberly. She's quite a character and a lot of fun to be around. So I enjoy her very much so. And I'm glad she
I was
got to
like,
be our guest.
wow. And the book that she suggested, I'm gonna read it for sure. Maybe we can type it on for people as well to.
Oh, right, right. Kim, can you put in the private chat the name of the movie and the book that you recommended or you spoke of during this episode? And I will share it in the comments, or you can just put it in the comments of this episode, whichever works. Okay, so she's got it. All right, bear with me, everybody. I promise I'm gonna wrap this show.
But yeah, this is very interesting. I'm
Okay,
gonna
this
work
is
on being more intuitive. Maybe I
yeah.
will be
Oh yeah.
connecting with someone from. Maybe I can answer some questions that humans are trying to answer.
Let me tell you something. We know everything inside of us. We just forgot, like she said. So if you tap into who your higher self, the God, as she said, the goddess that
Yeah.
lives inside of you, you will get a lot of those answers um, that you're looking for. You have the answers inside you. You just have to trust it. That's my take on it.
I think,
Okay.
I think our, as a human, our responsibility is to understand who we are and to remember who
Mhm.
we are. I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
our
our
life's
goal.
journey. Yeah, that's our whole life's journey.
And
And along
we're,
the way, we connect with soulmates and kindred
yeah,
spirits, and some people, dare I say, twin flames, if that's even a thing, or sacred partners. So there's a lot to learn that is out there if you go looking for it. And just take what resonates with you and leave the rest. If something doesn't feel like it makes sense to you, then just keep moving. That you don't have to be negative or anything. Just move on. It's like when you're watching TV and you change the channel because you don't want to watch that, right? But take the
yeah,
things that resonate with you and really consider them and take them in. And if you're someone who's new to all of this might have inspired your awakening, which I'm honored about. And reach out to Kimberly and have her help you through those initial steps of questioning everything and getting those answers.
and I hope this show was orgasmic.
Me too. Okay, I hope every show is orgasmic. So, anyways, we're back next week with another show and another hot topic. Um, Follow us on YouTube. Search Hot Topics Live in Kia if you can't find it, and subscribe. Set that little notification bell so you know that when we come live, so you can ask questions or post comments. We love that. We love you. And Matilda will be back in a couple of weeks. Next week, I have Kaula back with me and
Very
another
nice.
incredible guest. And you're gonna want, if you haven't subscribed, you want to subscribe before November. November, the guests are really going to pop off as well. Okay, I am actually stepping outside of my London real family for some of my guests, and they're going to be interesting and intelligent and amazing topics just like today's. And we're going to have some deep dive conversations. I'm sure they're going to be orgasmic.
Very nice. Looking forward. Thank you, Kia.
But
Till
and with
next
that,
time.
that's a wrap. Have an amazing day, and we love you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.